Hello world, it's Friday the 19th of January and we're looking at a forecast for the gliding competition at Worcester for tomorrow, Saturday the 20th of January 2024. I'm going to start off with a few interesting features on the forecast for tomorrow. I'm going to start off looking at this boundary layer wind, and you see we have this valley wind which is blowing right through the Breda River Valley right at Worcester Airfield. This is at 11 o'clock. At 2 o'clock you can see it's more pronounced, and by 5 o'clock it gets more spread out, but Worcester's actually, it's moved a little bit north of Worcester, which we'll see is useful. Zooming out at 2 o'clock, you can see that it's mainly a westerly flow. It's onto the ridges on the north ridge, and it's fairly parallel to the ridges to the east. Looking at the surface winds, we can see actually lower down the winds are a bit more favorable onto the Langeberg, and quite nice on the northern ridge, pushing over 10 knots, 10-12 knots. By 5 o'clock it's all picked up and got a bit stronger, and but this is coastal air coming in onto the Langeberg, which has an effect that we will see. To the northern ridges, still looking good, over 10 knots. Looking at the T5 for Worcester for tomorrow, this is 2 o'clock, and you can see the effect of this valley wind. In fact, doesn't look thermic on the airfield at 2 o'clock. It's just been cut off by the valley wind. But by 5 o'clock, it's quite happy. This is an interesting thing we'll see more of. The next feature for tomorrow's forecast is the cloud. We've got this cloud mass which is northeast of the airfield, and it's sitting at a cloud base of over 13,000 feet. I think it's a very useful cloud base. That's at 2 o'clock. That's zooming out. You can see it's quite extensive, and there's this section that goes up to the northwest east of the Ceres Valley. The Ceres Valley is over here. By 5 o'clock that cloud is beginning to burn off. It's beginning to break up and disappear. Last feature for tomorrow are the surface temperatures. We can see at Worcester, right through the Breda River Valley, we've got temperatures which are in the mid to high 30s, and places like Robinson's closer to 40, and then there are patches inland which are also up to 40. So it's a hot day tomorrow. So let's look at our options for flying. I'm going to look at some T5 again. Starting off at Porterville at 2 o'clock, and you can see there's an inversion around 4 o'clock, around 4,000 feet. The wind is blowing onto the ridge. It's not very strong. Doesn't look actually all that exciting. That's Porterville. That's Clanwilliam. Inversion's even lower. Renoster Hook, same again. This inversion is down about 3,000 feet there. And Claver. But when we go out to 5 o'clock, suddenly the inversion is lifted. It's gone. The wind has swung a lot more southeast, southwest, and it's not very strong, but it just looks a little bit more encouraging than the earlier forecasts. That's Clanwilliam. Same at Renoster Hook. Winds are quite light, but the thermic is there and the direction is good. Claver and Porterville. Now, let's look to the east for an alternate. That's Robertson at 2 o'clock. You can see once again there's very high inversion. The winds are very easterly but not very strong. Swellendam at 2 o'clock, inversion is a bit lower. And at Riversdale, same again, about 4,000 feet. About 5 o'clock, this is all killed off completely by the coastal flow that comes straight across from the sea and onto the Langeberg. It's Riversdale, Swellendam, and Robertson. So, east's an option, but you want to go there a bit early. North's an option, and that seems to be working a bit later. There's a third option. If we go inland, this is the Durance at 2 o'clock, and it's really, there's good 12,000 feet there. Toes River with some trance of cloud at 12,000 feet, and Squirstian. These winds are very southerly but not very strong. At 5 o'clock, beginning to feel the effects of this coastal breeze and breaking up a bit. Still good at Toes River, but not so nice at the Durance. So let's just look at this. This is at 2 o'clock. This is the height of the thermal heights, and we have this huge band where we could head up. This is Ceres Valley. The Ceres Valley doesn't really get to work, so we want to stay east of it, or maybe into the Tankwa Karoo. But by 5 o'clock, it's breaking up. Then we want to be back on the front ridge and coming home again. So maybe to the east first, and then inland, and then on to the north ridge to come home again would be the dream task. Finally, just looking at our options for gridding and launching the competition task, the competition fleet. At 11 o'clock, there's not much sign of activity in the Worcester Valley, but by 2 o'clock we can see that the Ordenburg is working and Vic Peak. So you will have to wait a little bit until there's clear signs of lift before you can start launching the grid. But otherwise, it looks to be an interesting day, and obviously tomorrow is still just practice day. We'll see what the rest of the week brings. Please fly carefully and do have fun, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night.